What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, August 18th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at this 4-game main slate. I like Damian Lillard from the Portland Trailblazers playing the LA Lakers, who have a good defense overall, and they've been middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Damian Lillard has averaged 48.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 37 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. But take a look at his last 3 games. He's played over 40 minutes in all those games. He scored 50, 69, and 79 fantasy points in his last 3 games. He's projected at 51.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 10,100 FanDuel salary and 1,300 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 230 points scored in this game, so I like Damian Lillard here versus the LA Lakers. Another point guard that I like is Eric Bledsoe from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Orlando Magic, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing point guards. Eric Bledsoe has averaged 30.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 29.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 5,800 FanDuel salary and 400 less on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 225.5 points scored in this game, so I like Eric Bledsoe here versus the Orlando Magic. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like James Harden from the Houston Rockets playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have a good defense overall, and they've been middle of the pack defending opposing shooting guards. James Harden has averaged 57.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 37 minutes per game with a 36% usage rate. He's projected at 54 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value. He's 11,500 FanDuel salary and 200 more on DraftKings. So I like James Harden here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Another shooting guard I like is Chris Middleton from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Orlando Magic, who have a good defense overall, and they've been middle of the pack defending opposing shooting guards. Chris Middleton has averaged 35.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 27% usage rate. He's projected at 35 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 7,000 FanDuel salary and 300 more on DraftKings. So I like Chris Middleton here versus the Orlando Magic. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like LeBron James from the LA Lakers playing the Portland Trailblazers, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. LeBron James has averaged 51.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. He's projected at 47.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.6 times value, but I think he breaks 50 fantasy points here tonight and gets you at least 5 times value. He's 10,300 FanDuel salary and 400 more on DraftKings. So I like LeBron James here versus the Portland Trailblazers. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Another small forward I like is Darius Bazley from the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Houston Rockets, who have the 6th worst defense overall, and they give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Darius Bazley, he's only averaged 13.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 19 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate, but he's playing 25 to 30 plus minutes per game now, scoring around 30 to 40 fantasy points per game, so he's projected at 25 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.6 times value. He's $5,400 FanDuel salary, but he's $900 less on DraftKings. So I love that DraftKings price. So I like Darius Bazley here versus the Houston Rockets. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Anthony Davis from the LA Lakers playing the Portland Trailblazers, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Anthony Davis has averaged 50.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 55.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's $10,000 FanDuel salary and $400 more on DraftKings. So I like Anthony Davis here versus the Portland Trailblazers. And another power forward that I like is Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat playing the Indiana Pacers, who have a good defense overall, and they give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Bam Adebayo has averaged 40.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He's projected at 35 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value. I think he can score around his average and get you 5 times value or more. He's $7,500 FanDuel salary and $100 less on DraftKings. So I like Bam Adebayo here versus the Indiana Pacers. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Jusuf Nurkic from the Portland Trailblazers playing the LA Lakers, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing centers, but Jusuf Nurkic has averaged 43.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 45 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. He's $8,400 FanDuel salary and $700 more on DraftKings. So I like Jusuf Nurkic here versus the LA Lakers. And the other center I like is Nikolai Vucevic from the Orlando Magic playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing centers. Nikolai Vucevic has averaged 41.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's projected at 40.1 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's $7,900 FanDuel salary and $900 more on DraftKings. So I like Nikolai Vucevic here versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And just real quick, on DraftKings, it looks like Brook Lopez might be a nice play here. He's $5,800 FanDuel salary, but he's $1,100 less on DraftKings. Projected at 27.8 fantasy points here tonight. It's only 4.8 times value on FanDuel, but that's over 5 times value on DraftKings, and he can definitely break 30 fantasy points or more. So I also like Brook Lopez here versus the Orlando Magic.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.